And it was to an only child. Yeah! I know, they're the fucking worst! Hi everybody, welcome back to the Clean Hamster podcast. This is episode 114 and I have a very special guest. Her name is Lavender. She's a wonderful musician. She has quite a sizable platform on Instagram, or used to, and we think, and it's okay. And we have been on each other's radars for definitely close to 2 years now. And to be honest, I have had like a great amount of respect for her because honestly, she was one of the first people to ever like comfort me from far away while I was in like a mini scandal on the internet. And since then, I'm like, this person's awesome. And as of recent, I don't know, we've just I just thought this would be an amazing guest to have, and she's never been on a podcast before either. And I'm happy to be the first podcast that she's ever on. So Lavender, welcome to the Clean Hamster podcast. I appreciate you for being here.
I appreciate you for having me.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's perfect. All right. So I wanted to, well, like, because like you said, we don't really know each other that well. I wanted to talk to you about, like, where are you from?
I'm from Los Angeles, California, born and bred.
Yeah.
I'm like a third generation Dogtown native. That's cool. That's definitely cool.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, but Venice is where I was like born and raised, and then I moved to Salt Lake City for a couple of years to finish out high school.
Nice.
And now I'm back in LA as of 2 years ago.
Great. When did you discover music as a passion?
Always. I think it was just something that I grew up around. My grandpa, who raised me, my grandparents were like my parents. My grandpa was a blues musician, a blues guitarist.
Oh.
So I grew up just listening to him for 8 hours out of the day on his guitar, and then the rest of the day was listening to music. So
Wow.
It's always just been in me. And I actually didn't make the jump from, because I've always like written poetry. I'm more of a writer than a singer even now, I would say, but I didn't make the jump until like 3 years ago when I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna write this song. And I did, and it was about like a really bad breakup, and it originally was a poem, and then I wrote a song and then recorded it on GarageBand at like 3 a.m. at like my mom's house during Christmas, like on Christmas Eve or something. I was just like, it needs to come out.
Wow.
And then flash forward to 2 years, and it has like 15 million plays on Spotify, something that I like recorded
Holy hell.
in my bathroom.
Wow. And what was that feeling like when you realized like this is it, like this is happening, and I want to keep going?
Well, I didn't even really believe that it was real because numbers are like just numbers. And so
yeah.
And I didn't even,
they don't fucking matter.
Yeah. Well, I didn't really, it's hard to make like the psychological connection between like listens, especially like with like even podcast numbers, like to know that those people are like real people, especially because you don't know how many people are listening or how many times it's been played. So
right.
I was like, okay, maybe like 10 people love this song and they've just played it millions of times.
Yeah.
But Billie Eilish found it, shouted me out on Good Morning America, said she'd wished that she had wrote my song. She like loved it so much.
Wow.
And all like everyone I knew was hitting me up and was like, did you see that Billie Eilish and Phineas are like sharing your music? And I was just like, what the fuck? I was like in the middle of a movie. I pull out my phone and I like have a full-blown panic attack. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like, So that was when I was like, oh, like people are listening.
Yeah, that's amazing. What did you what way how do I ask this? Well, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. Why were your grandparents the ones who raised you?
Oh, we're getting into the thick of it.
Well, you don't have to.
No, no, I love it. I love talking
This
about.
can be edited, but no. If that's too much too quick, I can
No,
dial it
it's
back.
totally fine. I'm used to people thinking, I'm used to having to hold my cards close to my chest because people don't want to hear this shit. So I'm glad that,
Right
you know,
here.
yeah, I'm glad that people want to hear it. But basically, my mom, so my mom was a single mom, and she had me at like very young. She got pregnant with me like right out of graduating high school, with like a significantly older man who had some like pretty serious like bipolar like psychosis.
Mhm.
And so she ended up raising me on her own, but she worked a lot, and then also was just like not a maternal bone in her body, like just very just not a bad person, but a bad person. She won't watch. She hates me, so she doesn't. So I'm just gonna say, but she struggled with like kind of substance abuse issues, and also just like prioritizing men in her life over me. So I ended up just like spending a lot of time with my grandparents while she was like out or working or just doing drugs or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, hey, whatever. There's like weirdly like beauty in that because of who you are now, and it's no matter what, it makes,
For sure, it's taught me a lot.
yeah, shit like that makes us who we are, and I appreciate you for opening up about stuff like that because fucking shit's hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
When
love this Zoom therapy session.
say that again, sorry.
I love this Zoom therapy session.
Yep, that's what this is. That's what this podcast is.
Yeah,
When I look down the barrel of my own fucking camera lens, I
yeah.
realize, uh-oh, I'm a pretty good interviewer. Oh no, am I a journalist or is this a comedy podcast that's just me sucking my own dick 24/7? No, it's not. Look, I can actually talk to someone. So, subscribe. Okay? Thanks. Jesus Christ. I've been doing this for since 2017, and it just recently became videos, and it's so much fun because people wanted it to be for so long, and this is where I had to, and this is like the only platform I had for like a long time, and until like my friends such as Curtis were like gracious enough to invite me onto their platforms, and like I still love doing like every single, like this is my therapy, even though I should probably one day get real therapy.
Yeah.
This is my like temporary form of it because I just tell fucked stories on here. Like last week I told a story about how one time I lied to my manager at a restaurant that one of my friends had been shot when I didn't even know who did it, really, because I just, yeah, I mean, crazy story to bring up, I know, but like I was 20 and I really didn't want to work. So, oops.
Oh my god, fully me. I was on a Hinge date one time, and
Holy me, thank God you said that.
okay, literally, I was on a Hinge date, and it was this dude that was like fine, but I was like not feeling it, and he was playing like Overwatch, and I was like, yeah, I want to like watch you play video games because I do really love to watch people play video games,
Yeah.
but he was so bad, and I was so embarrassed for him. And so I literally, oh God, I literally like, I'm texting my friend to call me and say that something happened. And so my friend calls me and is like, I just got stabbed outside of the bus on the speaker. And I'm like, how could you lie like that? Now I have to like react to you getting fake stabbed in front of this guy so that it's like more believable.
Oh yeah.
He bought it, I think. I don't know.
Either,
But
I mean,
lying is so fun.
okay. Thank God you said that. That makes me so happy because what a lot of this podcast is just
Lying.
like telling on myself. No, I have no fucking problem doing that. We've and the sooner we can all admit we're like little pieces of shit in these pockets of our lives, that's where we're gonna get better. But the lies that we tell people we don't truly care about, you know what I mean? That's a fucked thing. That's a tough thing to navigate through. Like I told my manager that lie because like I don't care about that. Like they're not gonna look into, I know they're not gonna look into it.
Yeah.
Because it's someone who just happened to be managing at that restaurant I was working at on that Tuesday afternoon. And I was like, I have to say something so extreme that removes me enough where like they have no follow-up questions and I just get to leave. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You can't say something that's like that like leaves like a follow-up question.
for sure.
You gotta be like, someone's dead, gotta go. Like then like that's it. And that's what happened to you on that shitty Hinge date. Like for sure that guy didn't want anything. He was probably like, okay, Jesus, like, and then you got to leave. That's
Yeah. He'd also just told me that day because we were talking about like kinks, as you do. And he
yeah.
was like, I don't really have any kinks, but I really like when women in latex pour milk all over themselves. I was like, got to go, dude. Bye.
When women in latex pour milk all over themselves.
Yeah, it was like he was like, I've never really thought about it, but here's this very specific kink that I have.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Here's
Um,
here's this like thing that like if I search it up, I don't know if a lot of results will come up. Here's this thing, if I search it up on Pornhub, there might be 4 videos, and I'm sure all of them are like illegal.
yeah, so scary. But yeah, that was the prompt. But yeah,
Yeah.
lying is
Oh man. Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do? How long have you?
my cat decided to join.
Aw. When did you how long have you been in a relationship for?
We just had our 2-year anniversary on the 7th.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
It's great. It's hard out here, but it's great.
Why is it hard out there?
It's like,
Because everyone's so hot. God.
no. People talk about how hard, like how relationships are hard work. But people don't like really talk about how relationships are hard work because you're like 2 separate people with completely separate traumas and upbringings trying to like mesh into each other's lives. And that's like just insane that like, I mean, I'm so different to Connor, my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that we're just like each other's families now. Like,
Yeah.
and we're just like, we have a family, like we have 5 animals and like, we've been together for 2 years. We've spent like, he works from home, so do I. So we've spent like every waking moment with each other for like almost 2 years straight. And it's just crazy that like, yeah, sometimes I look at him and I'm like, I met you 2 years ago and you're a stranger and you're just like you're like next to me in bed.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, it's hard work to mesh your life with someone else's who's like, because we have a totally different subset of trauma on opposite extremes.
Mm-hmm.
And so like meshing each other's lives together is like just interesting.
And it's like the ultimate test. And you pass.
It really is. I mean, I think I'm a hard person to be in a relationship with, period. And he handles it with absolute grace. But yeah, it's still hard out here.
Hey Connor, good job, man. Connor and
Everyone in my life who meets him is like, you are so strong for and I'm like, cool. We were at the doctor's office the other day and I was talking about like my family history and you know how the doctor's like, do you have any history of like mental illness or whatever?
And you were like, yeah. Yeah.
I did like the list, like everyone has bipolar, everyone's in jail, everyone's psycho. And he looks at Connor and is like, you're marrying into the right family. And I'm like, not you too.
Also,
I'm like, not the misogyny at the doctor's office.
Also, hey doc.
And then he's like, have you gotten a pap smear? And I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Also, doctor, excuse me, if you could like leave out your opinions on any level besides our health, that'd be great, man.
Totally. Very funny though.
But like, Jesus Christ. I mean, also fuck people who just have no problem being like, this is a great time for a joke, even though I don't know.
I will do the same thing. I was like, yeah, this is an appropriate joke to tell me right now when I don't.
I mean, like, come on, when you're a medical professional, though, I'm not gonna be like fucking the old ball and chain. I'm not gonna make jokes like that. It's insane.
I don't know. I think it helped me calm down a little bit too, because I fucking hate the doctor. So I was like, okay, bully me.
Fair enough.
And then I was like, okay, there's 2 men in this room. Spit roast me.
Nice. Awesome. Super cool.
I felt any situation where I feel like 2 men are going to have sex with me, I immediately calm down.
Right. How quickly can these 2 get boners? What are we?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Are we doing a checkup? Cool.
Yeah. I'm like, I know that this actually isn't anything about my boobs, but is this a lump? Can you look at these?
Yeah. My pussy's really wet. Can you see what all that's about? Thank you.
Yeah, my boyfriend keeps telling me that my pussy's like so tight, and I'm just wondering if that's like a medical anomaly.
I just know it's like a good thing to get like a second opinion.
Yeah. I'm
So
this is like the vagina of a 4-year-old to you. I just like
it'll be like, oh my God, that's super funny. I can't stop fucking coming. So, oh my God. Man,
yeah.
also those fucking those scenes on Pornhub where it's like stepsister can't stop like what like twerking or something, and it's just like a dude like a stepbrother being like, well, how are we gonna fix this? Guess you just put your huge dick inside of her, and I'm the idiot who's like, yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
Like I'm the dumbass who's like fully aware this is a production. However, yeah, and I'm like sitting up in bed with my laptop like here, like a fucking psycho, just being like, yeah, put your dick in her. That'll definitely help.
Pants at your ankles, shoes and socks still on.
I am the idiot who that porn is made for. Like, who's gonna believe this? Right here. That's me. I'm the one who's like, wow, they must be siblings. It
Sure.
seems awkward at first. Like I'm an idiot.
You gotta get off of Pornhub. It's stupid.
Yeah, yeah, I do.
You gotta go on the sketchier sites.
All right, well, after this, you'll send me a link, I guess. I don't know. Fuck.
You gotta go on the latex milk sites.
Yeah, ew. Fuck, what was I gonna say? Shit. I had something to go off on something you were saying. Oh yeah, I don't know. When you said the doctor said that, like just made like that offhand joke. Have you ever been punched in your motherfucking face?
No.
Okay, I have. I've had many black eyes in my life, and I've had to like it's always this side too. I don't know why. I'm a mouthy little guy. I get it. I've been suckered like quite often. And I've had so many situations where like if I'm out in public, like with friends or even with family and I have a shiner going, someone, it doesn't like a stranger will have no problem being like, everything okay at home or some crazy joke like that, and I'm just like, man, what if the answer was no? What if today was the day where I just was like, that's funny and all, man, and I know you're making a joke, but like, what if, oh, are you insinuating that like a mother or father did this to me?
Just lean into it.
Yeah, and just be like, and oh my
Just
God.
like, yeah, my dad is an alcoholic and he beats me.
Yeah, no, my girlfriend did this. I'm
Yeah.
terrified of her. Thanks though, man. You have a great day. Thanks for jumping into my life like that.
Yeah.
But I've also been sent home from work for having a black eye before. I showed up for a shift at a fancy restaurant that I worked at, and
Oh, I can imagine that.
they were like, "Do you have cover up?" And I went, "I do, but it's at home." And they're like, "Go, you look fucked." And I was like, "Well, all right." But hey, we live in cities, so what are you gonna do? Oh, sometimes you just get fucking punched. Sucks.
Yeah, as a woman, I think that's a female privilege is that I don't get punched as often.
No. Let's talk about the other side of things, the stuff you do have to fucking deal with as a woman, the bullshit you do have to endure. Because why not? I know this is like the reason why you're on the podcast today, and I'm doing a smooth job at transitioning into it.
Perfect segue.
Fuck. Oh, it's never been my strong suit, but thank you. I appreciate it. You've had a fucking hell of a week, and
Yeah.
I would like to give you the floor to talk about everything that has happened with you in your world and in your past that has come back throughout this past week.
Oh, geez, how explicit can we be?
Let's go.
Okay. I mean, giving me the floor. Okay, it's hard to do with I haven't prepared anything. But
So that's the best way.
So three years ago, I moved to LA, and I'm on like dating apps, and I'm just doing whatever the fuck. And I match with this like Viner, Gabriel Gundacker, and I just at this point I'm 19,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh my god, like Zendaya is Michi, ha ha ha, Epcot ball. This guy's so funny, like.
Yeah.
I'm definitely, and at this point I had a platform too, so it didn't feel like an insane power dynamic. I felt like that made me like more relatable to him, so that he'd be more likely to like want to meet with me. Of course, now I know that he didn't give a fuck, and that's actually probably why he didn't like me, or one of the reasons. But yeah, so I was like, we met up when I was 20. he had like just moved to like New York or something for 6 months when we matched the first time, and was like, oh, so sorry, like I'm just moving, but I move back in 6 months, like wait for me, ha ha ha, sort of thing. And which I was like, okay, whatever. And we had like a flirtationship for a second, and then when he came back, flirtationship?
Never heard that term.
Really? Have you heard of situationship?
No.
I'll school you after.
Am I a fucking idiot?
Yeah,
you idiot on my own podcast. I'm not the smartest person here.
No. Huh. Never.
Probably. Never really have been. But go ahead.
Kidding. Sorry.
Go ahead.
But yeah, so we met up and we went on a date, and the whole time I was like, wow, like this is hilarious. I mean, obviously I had met like famous people before, and he wasn't like the most famous. I'd been in spaces with content creators for a while because I had built a pretty sizable Twitter platform. So I had been around, like I'd been in this group of like Twitter comedians for a really long time with like huge following. So it wasn't like super daunting, but since I had like, you know, I'd been watching this guy since I was like 15 on Vine, and it was like haha funny, and I thought he was cute, so I was like, this is great. And I also have a platform too, so we could like join forces. We're both like comedians, that's going to be great, whatever. But the whole date, he's like pretty self-involved and pretty dismissive to me, and doesn't seem to be like listening to what I'm saying or whatever. But I'm like, whatever. And at this point, I'm 19 and dealing with or 20, and I'm dealing with my own shit. And I'm just like, okay, well, I need to make this dude like me, obviously, as one does. You know, when someone's disinterested, it makes you want them more. And I'm sure that that's like his whole play. But I was just like, you know, I kept going. And then he was like, do you want to go back to my place? And I was like, yeah, of course I do. You know, I want to see how the other half lives.
Yeah.
And so we go to his place. And suddenly he's being like very touchy with me. And I'm like, okay, this is fine. But I tell him like, I'm not going to fuck you on the first date. Like, I'm not that kind of girl. I totally am that kind of girl. But I didn't want him to, you know, think that it was going to be easy, or that like he could treat me kind of weird all night and then I'd just fuck him and then he like could ghost me. You know what I mean? Like that was what I was trying to avoid by saying like, you know, I'm not that kind of girl.
Yeah.
And also like, at that point, I didn't know if I really wanted to have sex with him because he was like very weird. And it's hard to explain that how like weird he was. But in a lot of the testimonies coming forward, you'll see a lot of women just be like, yeah, Gabriel was weird. Yeah. And I think that that's just like him showing like kind of just being dismissive and in his own world, like not really listening to what I had to say or anything. But anyway, so I was like, okay, I'm not going to have sex with this guy. And then every time I said that, he'd like inch closer to me or whatever. And then we were like cuddling in bed because I was searching for like some sort of like emotional intimacy with him to like feel comfortable and be like, okay, let's find common ground here. Like this, we got along enough to where it was like, okay, I'm going to keep trying on this date to like connect with you in some way. Also he's a Cancer. And so I was like, I'm also a Cancer. So I was like, I know there's something deeper here. Like I'm gonna try to like crack him a little bit, but he was just like not listening to what I was having to say. And then he like rubs himself against me to show that he has like an erection. And I'm like, okay, which is a move that so many men do. You'd be surprised. But I was like, okay, I'm not gonna fuck you. And I was
go for a walk around the apartment. I'm not lying. I do. I'm always like, and they're like, what? And I'm like, just. And I'm like,
I got a cool
and I blow on it.
Oh, that's one of my moves. That's hilarious.
But stop it.
Yeah, down boy.
Yeah, and I fucking smack myself in the dick.
Yeah.
Trying to talk to her. Leave me alone. Like that. I just yell.
Yeah, your dick is a misogynist, but you are very emotionally
Oh, he's the worst. This guy? This motherfucker right here, he's just like, come on. And I'm like, oh my God. I don't even know her middle name yet. Shut up down there. And he's like, I'm going to come. And I'm like, you better not. So
I'm gonna come asking.
like,
her
I'm
her
gonna
middle
pre-cum a
name.
little bit and it's gonna be uncomfortable. I'm like, fucking don't. Please. I'm trying to talk. I've had like one beer. Jesus, man. Yeah, he's
I can
bad.
imagine.
Sorry. That
Yeah,
was
let's go back to this time that I was assaulted.
yeah, that's really wow. Oops.
No, it's totally
Trying
fine.
to work in a few laughs in there while you're telling a super serious story.
Well, here's the thing. So I would like to preface this with saying that I don't even actually know if I want to call this assault yet. Like, I'm not going to say that like completely confidently that this was assault, even though multiple people have told me that it is assault.
Yeah.
I just like into it and why I have a hard time because the semantics of the situation are like a little strange. But anyway, so every time I tell him that I don't want to have sex, he like kind of pouts, like a kid, and so this is our like game that we play for a second, like like him pouting every time I say that, and then we start to kiss, and then at that point I'm like, okay, I'll have sex with this guy. He obviously really wants it. That makes me feel good that he wants me so bad. I'll give in. So we do end up having sex, and then he asks for a blowjob, and I'm like, okay.
After sex?
No, during sex. We're like during. He's like, oh, can you,
Yeah.
go downtown? And I'm
Or
like,
just
okay.
wait, or just wait for her to want to do it. Come on.
Well, sure, but I don't know. I actually appreciate when people ask her when they're like vocal in bed for like what they want.
But when you've already pouted, you know what I mean? Like when you've already been like, you should be happy with what you're getting, dude.
Oh no, for sure.
Even if you're even if you're in a situation where, because like fuck, I truly hope that in his brain he was like, fuck, I'm pretty goddamn lucky to be here, even though I just pouted like a bitch ass kid.
Well, here's why I think he asked because he was like basically just like using my fucking face. But so I go down there, appreciative that he asked and obliging, and I go down there and I start to do my business. And then all of a sudden I like feel his hand on my head and then my shoulder. Sorry, something just came up on my computer. But I feel his hand on my head and my shoulder kind of pushing me down.
Yeah.
And at this point I'm like, what the fuck? And I look up to be like, I'm not gonna eat your ass on our first fucking date, dude. Like in like a joking way, you know what I mean? Like yeah. So that it wouldn't be like awkward. Yeah. And I look up and he's like not even looking at me. He's like looking in the other direction, moaning yes, and like just like not even meeting my gaze or like anything and just like pushing me harder down. And at this point I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna fully just like lean into this. Like I definitely had like, a physical reaction that was like, oh, I don't know about this. And then he wasn't even like looking at it. I think convinced myself during that, like, oh, he's so in the moment that like he doesn't, but that's not how that works.
No chance. No.
But just one of the many things I told myself to rationalize it. But anyway, yeah. And then I think I stopped because I'm uncomfortable. And then he just like jacks off and finishes on my, like, either on my face or on something close to us. I don't remember because at that point I was just like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess I won't, like, out of my own propensity to like remain pleasant during sex and not be like aggressive during sex about like saying no, because I've had to say no during sex multiple times, but it's always in like a joking way, so things aren't like tense or like weird. So it's, like, oh, I'm not going to do that with you sort of thing. Or like, what are you fucking crazy? I think, funny story, my boyfriend, the second time we had sex was like fucking me in doggy and then like put his thumb in my asshole. Like, and I was like, what? I was like, I barely know you. I was like, what the fuck? He stopped immediately, was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I was feeling bold. And I'm like, yeah, that's very normal to like try something, get a negative response, but like look for a reaction and then not do it when you realize that the reaction's negative.
Right.
But that's obviously not what happened in this case. And so, yeah. Anyway, so then the night is weird. I can't remember much else of that night. He fell asleep almost like pretty immediately after that. We woke up, and then I was on my merry way.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't talk to me for a week. And I'm like, telling all my friends, I'm like, LOL, Gabe's a fucking weirdo. Like he's a freak in the sheets. I was like, I don't know. Some of it I liked because I do like rougher stuff, but it seemed odd to me that he never asked to do anything rough, like was choking me pretty immediately, and like just being really really rough with me, obviously, other than like pushing my head down, like asking me like whose pussy this was, and like very like weird, like super aggressive porny stuff that was is very strange to do upon the first time you're having sex with someone. And he was like totally stoned. I don't know if he was sober because we had coffee earlier because I don't drink, and he gave me a bunch of shit for not drinking because he was like, he kept trying to give me alcohol, but I said no. I'm also 20 at this point.
Yeah.
So, like he knows that I am not old enough to drink, and that's why we didn't go to a bar.
Everything just makes sense after like thinking about that when you're like, this guy was trying so hard to like, you know, have me sedated and well, not sedated, but just like, you know, under the influence of something.
Easier to manipulate, basically.
And then as soon as you entered his apartment or whatever, his brain unfortunately was just like, fucking okay, game on, like she's playing by my rules. Like it's you
Totally.
was not even considering your brain. Like
yeah, and I wasn't considering me as a person whatsoever. And so yeah, but you know, I'm telling all my friends like how like uncomfortable it was, but how like it was hilarious that I was having sex with Gabriel Gundaker because he was a fucking biner and he was like 30. He was like 28, and I was like, this is so funny, haha, I'm 20 and he is old. And I don't know, just the things that, you know, young women tell themselves to like make things seem normal and to rationalize, because at that point also like I, you know, had been sexually abused before and in compromising positions, and it was always so like cut and dry. Like I said no, something bad happened, they kept going.
Yeah.
But at this point, it was like the semantics were so unclear because like he didn't see me, or he wasn't looking at me. He like didn't seem to realize that I was pushing my head back up, or if he was, then he was just pushing me back down harder. And like the consent was like foggy, so I was just like rationalizing this like forever.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so a week passes, and then he hits me up again. And he's like, I really want to see you. Come to this bar. And I was like, I am literally 20. I do not have a fake.
I don't drink.
Yeah, I don't drink. And yeah, so then we have sex again. And it's still just as uncomfortable, but nothing happens in the downtown region. Sorry, I'm getting anxious talking about this, but
no, seriously, it's okay. If you want, you can have a break if you want. Like, I'm not, don't worry. Don't think just because this is like being recorded that you can't take all the time you need to, you know, relax and, you know, do whatever you need to do. You can take a break.
Thank you.
It's okay.
But yeah, anyway, so 2 years pass, 3 years almost. And I make a TikTok saying that I kind of explaining the situation, like, LOL, remember that one time I ate Gabriel Gundaker's ass, and kind of just testing the waters. Because I kind of just had to like say it because I had seen that he was dating Francis, who is 20 and he's 30. And so I was like, this guy's fucking weird. And over the past 2 years, I've done so much work to just be like, yeah, Gabriel's a fucking weirdo. He put me in a really compromising situation, was really rude to me. Oh, I forgot. Oh, dude, it's such a weird, long story. But anyway, so then after me,
I got the time. Don't worry.
After me and Gabe like break things off, he like calls me and is like, I met someone else. And so I'm like, okay.
Did he need to do that?
I appreciated him telling me, because we had been seeing each other for like a month.
And okay, how many times did you guys see each other?
Probably 4 or 5 times.
Okay, sorry. I thought it was only those 2 times. My fault.
No, the other times were like we went on a date to like the Getty Museum and then just like other nights.
Yeah.
And we got lunch, I think, once. I don't know. I forget all the things that we did. But yeah, so he calls me to just be like, I met someone, and I was like, okay. And he was like, it's getting serious. And I was like, at first I was like, okay, because we've been having unprotected sex. So I was like, it's getting serious, or like you want things to get serious? But I didn't ask because I didn't want to know.
Right.
But then a week later, I go on a date, another Hinge date with this guy. And he tells me that he just stopped dating this girl who like met a Viner and then they had to break up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's so fucking weird.
Same.
What Viner?
Yeah.
And it was Gabriel Gundacker. And I was like,
wow.
LA is small. I was like, what the fuck? That shit is, I was gobsmacked. I was like, yo, what? And then I was telling him, I was like, Jesus Christ, I hope she's okay because Gabriel's fucking weird. Like, how old is she? I was like asking all these things. She was also like 20 or just barely 21. Yeah. And I was like, Jesus Christ, like he has a type. And like, he was super weird to me. And like talking about how young I was while we were like fucking and wanting me to call him daddy. And I was like, I was asking him, I was like, is she kinky like that? Like just to like get a you know, a grasp of like why he left me for her, you know, just like normal things.
Yeah.
Accuracy testing. And then he like goes on his phone and starts like texting her. And I'm like, on our date, you're like texting whatever. But anyway, so then they're texting for a while and then he keeps saying like, oh, sorry, 1 second. And he's like fully texting her. And I guess they just had a really intense relationship and broke up like a week before. So I was like, okay, I like sort of get it, but also I'm like, I'm right in front of you sort of thing.
You're being rude. Yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't know what he was saying to her or whatever. But then all of a sudden I get a call from Gabriel and he's like almost in tears saying like, oh my God, I really, really like this girl. Like you've like ruined this for me. Or like, I don't know what you're trying to do. Like, I'm not a bad guy. Tell me that I'm not a bad guy. I haven't done anything to hurt you. Right. Like wanting me to like repeat it back to him. And at this point I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like freaked out. And I was like, listen, dude, like, obviously us not working out like hurt my feelings because you were pretty dismissive the whole time. And, you know, things were weird at the end because we just like kind of tapered off, like didn't talk. And then all of a sudden he calls me and is like, we should stop seeing each other. And I'm like, okay. And then he like, you know, obviously had been having unprotected sex with me while having sex with her. And so I was just like, kind of had a bad taste in my mouth, but I was like, no, you're a good guy. Like, whatever, like, leave me alone. And then we don't talk for like months.
Yeah. Then
I go to New Orleans and I'm like, he talked about how much he likes jazz. And one of our things was like that he really liked music and I really liked music. So I was like, where are the best jazz clubs in New Orleans? And so we were on like a very like kind of just normal acquaintances, followed each other, whatever. He liked my music, I think he said, and I thought he was talented. So we like stayed in contact that way. But like very sparingly. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah. So then obviously I posted TikTok 2 years after that instance. And then a bunch of women are like, he assaulted you. And I'm sitting here like, yeah, he did. But I didn't like let myself feel like that was traumatic to me because it was embarrassing that I didn't audibly say no.
Right. Right.
So it was like, yeah. So the whole time I was like, this is my fault. I traumatized myself, basically. When like, you know, I've talked to my boyfriend about it and multiple women now about it. And they're like, yeah, that's not fucking normal. Like, first of all, you ask before you choke someone, especially on the first fucking date.
For sure.
You ask before you do all these things. You look at someone's face, you maintain communication before you like push their head down. Yep. You don't just like steamroll them. Yeah, anyway. And so then multiple women start DMing me. And at this point I'm like, oh, this is crazy. But I'm like, wow, it's crazy that like I found community in these women who like also this happened to. And then I was like, do you mind if I share this? Like, this is kind of weird that he's doing this. And then I started sharing. And then the more I shared, the more people saw it.
Oh, yeah.
The more women came forward. And then the crazier the fucking situations got. I had another influencer, internet comedian, who has like 1 million followers on TikTok message me and just be like, I said no to sex, but he kept pouring that wine. And then I did. And then I just cried in my car afterwards. And And she's like, oh, maybe I'll come forward, but you know, it's scary, especially in a situation like that where it's like you're drunk and you consent, but the situation is like foggy. You know what I mean? And then this 17-year-old girl messaged me and is like, I'm not going to go into too specifics of the situation because half of what she said she didn't want to come out, but I shared something about how he got her pretty drunk, and then, you know, tried to like finger her, and she kept saying no because she was on her period, and then he kept like insisting and like trying to the whole night, and then that ended up being really bad. And then it just like fucking exploded, and then I had like 25 women in my DMs, including his ex-girlfriends, including his friends, saying like, this happened to me. I can corroborate how creepy he is, the things that he says in bed. I totally believe these women. Yeah. His ex-roommate says that he believes these women because she had a problem with like how young the girls were that he was bringing home. Yeah. I have other ex-girlfriends saying that like he was an extremely abusive relationship. I actually reach out to the girl who he left me for. Yeah. And they were in a relationship for like a year after that, and it was like super toxic, and she called it abusive and all these things. And he said that like he used to lie to his friends and his parents about her age because she was so young, and like just all this fucking crazy shit. And then it's like silent for a second, and like Cole Hirsch, because like one of the girls said that she had something with Cole Hirsch, who is friends with Gabriel, and I'm not super familiar with Cole Hirsch, but I just like posted what she said, obviously, because I believed her. Yeah. And then he makes like 3 fucking statements where he's like trying to discredit me and like all this crazy shit. And at this point, I'm fully like, oh God, what is Cole gonna say? Like just waiting for his next statement, because at this point he'd made 2. Yeah. And so I'm just like, Jesus Christ, trying to keep track of all these women telling their stories, and also like keeping a relationship with all these women just in case like something legal happens. So I'm like, you know, you don't have to tell me. And then I'm building like this friend group of all these women because we've all been through the same thing. So we're like all talking. And then all of a sudden, one of his ex-girlfriends from like 2013 tells me that he is HPV positive and had a breakout while they were together, and like didn't know. And he like would not go to the doctor about it. And she's telling me this, and I'm like, holy shit, we fully had unprotected sex. Yeah. And then 2 or 3 women prior to that had told me that he had given them chlamydia and didn't treat it. Like one of his ex-girlfriends said that she asked him to take the antibiotics because he had given it to her. And then came back to his house like 2 weeks later, and it was completely full. Like had not taken the antibiotics to treat it. Fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, so, you gotta do that. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, so he was fully having unprotected sex. And then 2 women told me that they had tested positive for HPV sometime in the time between them having sex and, you know, whatever. One girl said that she had an abnormal pap and was really worried. And then another girl said that she was high risk for ovarian cancer because of her HPV, because HPV causes ovarian cancer. Yeah. It like 80% of the time turns into cancer for women.
Wow.
Oh.
So and fully illegal activity.
Well, sure. And here's the gray area though too, is so a lot of people when I came forward with that was like, there's no way for men to test if they have HPV. There's an anal pap smear that you can do. And also if you have a breakout of genital warts, you know, and he did. Right. And it was confirmed by one of his exes. And once you have a breakout, it's skin to skin contact. So like if you even hold hands during a breakout, or like if you kiss someone and have HPV, like you need to disclose that information. Yeah. Some people say that you don't need to because it's like so prevalent or like whatever, or because of vaccines. Mm-hmm. But obviously if he has untreated genital warts and he's having unprotected sex with young women, he needs to disclose whether or not, and also he needs to disclose whether or not he has chlamydia. Yeah. And you know, all those things. So just really fucking weird behavior. And he has not made a statement. And then a bunch of people tell me that his current partner, he's known since they were 15. So Francis, his current partner, has their parents used to bring them to his shows because they weren't old
Oh
enough.
my God. Ew.
Yeah. And they've been friends. And then one of the ex-girlfriends was like, yeah, they would text all the time while we were together. And I fully thought that they were sleeping together and he was cheating on me. And that's like one of the reasons why they fought and broke up, I guess. And at that point, Francis was like 16, 17. So at this point, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, this guy's a fucking supervillain. Like, just unreal, like how fucking bad this person is. And then
it kept piling on, and all the stories that were being shared with you from these women, like all added up, like timelines, like everything was just
ridiculous. I found out that he was having unprotected sex with me and 2 other women while we were fucking, and he had fully lied to me, saying that he had not had sex in a while, had been tested, and that's the only reason why I had unprotected sex with him. And so he like, which is like fucking creepy. Yeah. And yeah, it's like, yeah, it's just this fucking crazy web of stories and lies and so many women coming forward, and not only women coming forward, but like his friends, like in the comedy scene with platforms, messaging me and being like, oh my God, I feel so ashamed that I didn't say anything. Right. Because I knew that this was happening, but I just, from my own naivety, I thought that, you know, it wasn't in bad faith, basically. Yeah. It maybe it like happened that way. Just all these people around him convincing themselves it was okay. And the reason why I had even brought all this up online was because I was fucking angry, because I was at like a party like 2 months ago, or no, like a month ago. And I'm talking with this guy, and we have a mutual friend, and it was the girl who ended up dating him right after me. And I was like, oh, like, are they still okay? Or like, what's going on with them? Just like, you know, small talk. And, you know, he goes, oh yeah, that was really like bad for her. Like that was a bad relationship. And I was just like, Jesus Christ. And I was like, geez, what a creep. And he was like, yeah, he has a reputation. Oh. And that was like the second or third time I'd told someone that he was creepy, and they were like, oh yeah, I know about him.
Like, right? Yeah. Oh my God.
And I was like, I was getting so fed up with hearing that I was like, how the fuck don't more women know about this? Like, if someone is a predator in Los Angeles, especially in the comedy scene or the sphere, it's like, you fucking say that. Like, you need to know, like, people need to know that this person is a fucking bad guy, so that women don't get caught in this fucking trap. Right. But yeah, that's basically, anyway, so I'm posting that he knew that he had an STD and was still sleeping with people. And then I say, you know, if you've had relations with Gabriel, go to a pap smear, and you have to ask for an HPV test, because they don't usually test women who are under 25. Yeah. Because after 25 is when the risk for cancer like goes up. So that's when they start testing. And so it won't come up in like an STD panel for women unless you ask for it. And then all of a sudden, one of his exes one of his exes,
Alexis, Texas?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
One of his exes texts me and it's like, I'm not seeing, I went to like go read your newest stories and nothing's there. And I'm like, LOL, what? Like, okay, this is weird.
They're there.
I log in and it says your account has been disabled.
Like, fuck. What? Yeah. And what do you think happened?
I mean, I don't know if Gabe or Cole like know anyone at Instagram. They could like.
They for sure do. They for sure do.
They also could have potentially reported me so many times that like Instagram was like, okay, fine, we'll disable it.
Holy hell.
Because like, there's no other. I mean, what? Like, I didn't have any like strikes on my shit. Like. Nothing. And so I've been trying to like get it back, but that's hard because I have to go through like my manager who knows someone who like knows someone at Instagram. It's just, hopefully I'm going to be able to get it back. But and it sucks too, because I had just like prior to this, like a month ago, reached like 90,000 followers on Instagram, which is like a crazy feat. And especially when you're an indie musician without like represent like a huge representation, like right. I really built my shit on my fucking own. So
and
that just sucks.
And I want to say that the reason why I was like not only proud but like fucking like really gunning for what you were doing is because you took the time to be like, hey, by the way, like I didn't get this sizable platform from any of these dudes I am warning women about. I got this on my own. And
Totally.
I thought that was really cool of you to say because it's 100% true. And that's admirable. And it's like, and that does, it sucks that it does play into like the first time like some asshole guy could see that happening. They would just assume like, oh, it's probably because fucking she didn't get what she, or like, she was probably
Dude,
fucking
it's like
trying to,
I,
but no, you had everything already.
yeah, no, well,
Like you
everyone
weren't like,
podcast or not this podcast, this streamer called Papa Gut, fucking loser, but he,
what, like a drama YouTuber?
yeah, sort of
Oh
like
yeah,
a
if you're a drama YouTuber, go fuck your dad.
no, but and so everyone's sending me this stream of him being like, oh, she didn't, she traumatized herself, like she's just doing this because it's like the day and age when everyone wants to be like over sexualized or assaulted. And
Nope.
so all comments are saying like, wow, I don't trust this girl. And I'm like, how dare you discredit me, sure, but also there's 25 other women on my story that are corroborating the exact story that I am, or way worse.
Right.
I'm like,
yeah, they
okay,
got worse with every passing day. That's like
absolutely. And it's like, how dare you say, and then he said that you couldn't like groom an adult, which like, yes, you fucking can. Like, you can groom anyone. It's love bombing. Like, that's what you fucking do. Like, he didn't understand the semantics of like abuse or sexual assault or anything, and it was just fucking brainless. Like, just
borderline manipulation tactics that can
yeah, totally. And he was just like really doubting my story, which like I definitely expected people to do as a woman on the internet, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think that that's why I covered my tracks a lot, being like, yeah, I wouldn't call this assault. I know that the semantics of this are weird. I know it's, a weird area. But then obviously as more women came forward with their stories of like actual, very clear as day assault, I was like, oh yeah, this is a fucking pattern.
Yeah.
And I felt like my story corroborated more of the more intense stories, not the other way around. You know what I mean? Like, I don't classify myself as like Jane Doe victim A, worst thing he ever
No,
did.
definitely not. No. You're not fucking ground zero. No, you're not.
No, exactly.
But
I just happen to be the person with the platform that was like, I'm fucking sick of hearing that this guy's reputation.
Exactly. Yeah.
And a bunch of people were like, oh, she just wants clout for being a sexual assault victim. I'm like, name 5 women who have gotten famous for coming forward with sexual assault.
Yeah, and also do your research. I got it.
Yeah, I had 600,000 followers on TikTok before I even fucking said anything. And also 90,000 followers on fucking, if anything, I lost followers from this shit. And
why would anyone think that if someone's like made it or is in the process of like doing pretty well, like, gaining a sizable platform on their own independently, like you have, why would in their brain they be like, God, you know what would really kick this off and send me into the stratosphere? If I started posting testimonies from women who have been assaulted by a fucking
by this washed up Viner who hasn't made anything in like
obviously it's all fucking true.
Yeah,
like
especially
why?
when many fucking people come forward. It's like, how could you look at the sheer volume of women corroborating these stories and then still not believe us? It's like,
yeah.
And then Cole even tried to say like all these girls are people who know him or was around, like trying to discredit it and like almost implying that like I had like fabricated these stories. It was fucking weird. Like, obviously he was in a really vulnerable position because this girl that came forward about him didn't have any sort of platform. So he probably thought that he'd never have to hear about it, worry about it ever again.
Right.
And obviously did. And so I understand the fear, but also like with Cole's shit, it's like no one accused him of being like a rapist or like sexually assaulting them or anything. They just accused him of being a bad guy.
Yeah.
Which like, I thought, okay, let's just put that out there because if, you are the company you keep too. So if Gabriel's hanging out with people that are this fucking weird and they're not checking him, it's like, yeah, that makes it makes sense. It tells the story. It gives you a bigger picture of like, yeah, people knew about this. People didn't do anything about this, like whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, and
And
I believed her.
someone's gonna, sorry, go ahead.
And I just believed her statement. So I was like, I might as well use my platform to help this girl who otherwise would never get her voice heard about how fucking abusive
Exactly.
this guy was.
Right.
And then he goes on this fucking tirade trying to like discredit me. And I'm like, if you just shut the fuck up and said, like, I'm so sorry, I was in a really bad place in this relationship. Like, so is she. We both have some like really emotional, like, trauma residuals from this relationship. But obviously, like, I vow to go to therapy. I'm doing much better. I hope that no other women would feel this way about me. Apologize to her about it. Like, that's all he had to fucking do. But instead, he makes 3 separate statements where he won't denounce Gabriel, tries to discredit my allegations, say that I'm weaving this narrative of like lies, basically. And I'm like, this is, which is classic narcissistic behavior. Like, classic narcissistic abuse is when you call someone out and they just like have to convince everyone they're a good guy. He's like texting his exes and are like, did I ever abuse you? And they're like messaging him back like, no one believes this girl, no one believes the allegations about you. And he's using that in his statement to like refute evidence. I'm like, I'm like, that is literally making you look so bad, dude. Like, just apologize. You were like pretty out of the clear in this situation. Like, Gabriel's allegations are a whole nother ballpark. You're just like, you got outed for being like a bad guy. It's like, just fucking apologize and move on. But it became like this whole other fucking thing. I don't know. It was fucking crazy. Like, I did not expect myself to get involved in this sort of shit like ever. I did not think that I was the sort of well, first of all, I didn't think that I was the sort of woman that could get sexually assaulted because I am so aggressive and vocal most of the time.
Yeah.
So it was really weird to me to even admit that Gabriel had done this to me, because out of like some self-preservation. And then once I had, it was like, it was just crazy. And then all these women made it not, I mean, obviously they didn't make it my responsibility. I took on this responsibility and I'm glad.
Right, you wanted to help, yeah.
I'm glad that I did, and I think it was worth it. But all of a sudden I'm taking on the responsibility of like 20 women coming forward, making sure their stories are straight, only sharing the parts that like add to the story. So I'm not adding anything that's like, oh, he was like a mean guy. You know, I'm adding things that like corroborate the other stories that are like sexual assault or like all these other things. I'm asking like, how many things can I share out of their stories? Because some women are like, my story is way too specific. Like, I don't want him to know who I am, sort of thing. They're all asking me like, you know, what if this happens? Like, what if this is a legal battle eventually? And I'm like, fucking let's do it, baby. I know the law. Like, I'm trying to be like a brave face for all these women, you know, relive my trauma also, because all these women are saying things that like I experienced too, like with the, you know, calling me childlike and saying how like tight and small I was and like all these like
come on
things. And so every time I'm reading another story, I'm like reliving the trauma, remembering something else that he did to me that I like just stop thinking about. Like, I don't know, it's been a crazy fucking week. And then all of a sudden my fucking shit gets taken down. My Instagram gets taken down. And now the record of victim testimonies that I have is gone. It's like, I mean, I've saved some of them on my phone, but none that are like blocked out, like names and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, because most of these women wanted to stay anonymous, so I like had to make sure that like their names were like drawn out on Instagram, like blacked out, and all these things. But yeah, and it sucks that I don't have Twitter, so I can't like post like all these testimonies. And there are so many testimonies that you couldn't even do it on Twitter. It would be like a fucking 8-page essay of like all these.
It'd be an insane thread, but it's important. But it sucks that, I mean, I hope if you get your Instagram back, it'll all be there. But like,
yeah, I hope so too.
Shit, man, like fuck. I'm sorry that you had those realizations and those in like such a short amount of time. Also, like, that must have been like insane for all that to happen in like a week.
Dude, it was crazy.
Those memories to flood back and all that stuff.
Yeah, and even now it's like apparently his people are messaging me saying that his not his band but his label dropped him or like suspended him, or that like he lost a job through Comedy Central that he got booked for or something. And these people are telling me it like, oh, like, ha ha ha, look at his life fall, you know, light on fire right before our eyes. Like, so glad that we did this. And I was talking to Connor about it, and I was like, dude, it sucks being the person that has to bring the shit to light, because I'm not happy about him like missing opportunities. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't
Well,
actually,
well,
in my brain, like, yeah,
we just want someone to stop doing that stuff.
totally,
That's
totally.
all.
But also, it's like, if he is the sort of person, like, at this point, he's a serial predator. So, like, he shouldn't be on Comedy Central. He probably shouldn't be in a band that tours. You know what I mean? Like, all
No.
this shit. But it still doesn't like feel good to be like kind of the figurehead of like what got that moving.
Right.
Like, I thought that I'd feel a lot better about it. Like, hell yeah, got him, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But obviously, I also had like a relationship with this dude at some point where he was like, you know, I really want to be a comedian. I really want to be a musician. All these things. And then I was one of the people that like made it so he lost those jobs, which like kind of fucking sucks. Like, it doesn't feel good. I genuinely wish none of this fucking happened, like that he didn't abuse all these women,
Right.
all this shit, like, or that he didn't exist at all. Honestly, it just fucking sucks that it has to be this way. Like, I hate being this person. I hate like having to do this. I hate that there's even like a world where I have to share all these testimonies for people to believe women, or that he couldn't just be a normal fucking person without like serial abusing women. Like, it just sucks. Like, and he hasn't made a statement, and I'm worried that he won't, because he just wants it to go away.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like don't even know where to go from here. It's like, it feels like the book is left open, and I don't like necessarily want to keep it open. I don't want to close it. I was just sharing things as they came to me. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
of course, there's nothing wrong with that. No.
I was just like, okay, another girl, you know, messaged me and is like, this happened to me, and I'm like, fuck, okay, I'll share it. And yeah, it just feels like this like open-ended thing where it's like, I don't know when all of the victims will be happy, like how many job opportunities he'll lose before we'll all feel like peace. But the reality is that none of us will, because he had already done the damage to us. Right. So no matter how many fucking jobs he loses, no matter what, we still are like having to unpack that trauma with our fucking therapists. And like, I guess the point is that we just hope that he doesn't fucking do this again.
Exactly.
And if he does try, that these women like know, you know what I mean? Like, I want him like reported off of dating apps, so he can't like women. Like, I don't want him to like tour, or if he does tour, I want his friends to hold him accountable. Like, all this shit. Like, the objective is just so this doesn't happen to any more people.
Exactly. So, yeah.
It's just fucking.
If we could see live footage of like a girl physically running away from him at a bar, going "fuck you," and that went viral, that'd be worth it. Like, wouldn't that be awesome? And he's just there like with his stupid fucking Vine face.
Yeah. And she's 18.
And she's like, I have to leave the bar anyway because I'm underage.
But that's another thing. Like, so many women, like 4 women, who I like know in LA through like mutual relationships, who are also in the comedy scene, are like, yeah, I went to bars with Cole and Gabe when they knew I was 18, and they came with us to this bar because they let 18-year-olds in.
Jesus Christ.
Unlocked, like, they knew where to go. They knew where to go with their underage girls.
Fuck
they
that.
With them. It's like, dude, it's like super villain shit. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy. And some of it was just teetering the line, like, you know, 18-year-olds, but some of it with Gabe was like 17-year-old girls, or even as young as people saying that they were like 12 to 13, where he was flirting with them on Snapchat. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. The more the
Guys, stop.
The crazier it was. It was fucking insane. I was like so sick by the end of it. Like, my stomach hurt. I was anxious. I was like, how the fuck did I have like sex with this dude that could have given me HPV, was sleeping with like 3 other people while we were together, had talked to like, had been doing this serially for years. Like, it's fucking crazy. Just fucking crazy to be involved in all of this. Like, I thought that my emotional vetting process meant that I could like never come into contact with one of these fucking weird guys, but I did.
It's because people like that hide themselves
in plain sight
behind being a funny fucking person.
Or quirky. Yeah, he's like,
just being like, oh, he's weird, I want to get to know him. Like, or same thing on the other side. Like, if I meet a fucking girl and I'm like, wow. And then, you know, over time, I'm like, shit, I did not really know who I was with.
Yeah.
that's what happens, and it sucks so much, and it sucks because it can go to the extreme that you had to deal with, and I'm really sorry that you had to deal with that stuff.
Yeah, it's really weird. Yeah, it's really weird. My boyfriend had we'd been going through, I don't want to disclose too much information obviously because it's not my story to tell, but we had been over like the past 2 years like coming to terms with some of trauma that he had when he was like assaulted by one of, a woman in his life.
Yeah.
And how, he had issues with like wanting to come forward because he didn't want to like be the cause that someone like lost their job, because that would like morally felt wrong to him, even though this woman had like done what she did to him and probably deserved to not have a fucking job ever again.
Right.
And it was crazy that like I didn't ever think that I'd be in the situation where because I was like, no, obviously, I was like, how stupid is that? Like, it was really frustrating to be with someone who I was like, you need to tell someone about this so it doesn't happen again. And so she gets consequences. But now I'm in like his seat where I'm like, wow, it actually really does suck to be this fucking person. Like,
yeah,
it sucks.
Because you're a good person through and through, but then that wasn't supposed. It was a compliment. That wasn't supposed. To, you know what I'm saying? Like you're a good person through and through, and then like everyone feels guilt like that in the strangest situations.
Yeah.
But then all it takes is it could just come to you in like a moment where you're just like, no, what the fuck? I don't want this to ever happen again to somebody. Because fuck, it's happening to me and I'm dealing with it. And if I can stop someone else from feeling the way I'm feeling, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's also, yeah, I'm also like really putting myself out there, like as a very like public sex worker, being someone who was like, I was sort of assaulted. Listen to my story. It's like that's already opening the door for like so many people to just be like, fuck you, you're sex
yeah,
worker.
it's so many dudes are just gonna be like, okay.
So many women too. It's crazy.
Yeah. You know who doesn't support women?
Me.
Women. And men. But like it's so weird when a situation comes out like along the lines of this. And obviously the sheer volume of women that were sharing their story with you and were helping and you were helping them. But also it always blows my mind when a woman who it just has nothing to do with it will speak on it, and it's like, hey, come on.
Yeah, I grew up with, my mom was like the biggest woman hater, like closet misogynist I've ever met. It's like anytime any woman came forward, she was like, fucking liar. I had to like relearn like how to be a woman because I grew up like hating women because of my mom.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's like crazy generational trauma.
Mm-hmm. Jesus, I'm sweating, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. We take a big breath.
Yeah, holy shit. I'm like,
you're sweating. You're wearing like a jersey over a hoodie. Probably
it's cold in the basement apartment that I live in.
In Canada, in
Toronto,
Vancouver.
Ontario, Canada.
Oh, not Vancouver. Toronto, Ontario.
Toronto, Ontario, Canada. That's where I live. It's a big city.
Nice up there.
Yeah, it's sick up here, but like, it's just like any other shit city. Say that again?
Have you met Justin Trudeau?
No. I met Ben Mulrooney one time.
Wow.
And
have you met a moose?
No, I've never met a moose. There's none really in like the cities. There's some up north and stuff. I've seen a beaver.
Hopefully a couple by now.
Yeah. And vagina joke?
Yep.
Nice. Fuck yeah. I knew this podcast was gonna be a hit. Let's go. A few fucking beavers.
Yeah.
And what's the most, by the way, do I sound Canadian when I speak?
No, actually. Awesome. What is your ethnicity? Are you just white?
My dad's side is like European, Jewish, you know?
Oh, I know.
Yeah, you can kind of tell. I have a very narrow face and these ears.
Yeah, very rat-like.
What?
Very rat-like?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A dirty rat Jew with a podcast? Fuck yeah. A dirty
rat Jews talking, chopping it up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're Jewish too. That's right. Yeah. Oh gosh, our facial structure is bullshit. And my,
I'm fuck, so I don't know what you're talking about.
what do you mean?
I think that my Jewishness adds to how hot I am.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's bullshit, as in like it's like people want like it's like wow, I would kill for that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But and then my mom's just pure white. My mom's just like Irish, and
Oh.
yeah, just keeping it all right here. Just very like they go to bed early. Like they suck.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but somehow I look like full Italian. So
You totally do.
like being actually when yeah like when I, my dad being for some reason being half Jewish means you're full Italian.
Yeah, totally.
That's what that is. So that's why I'm very yeah. I tan very well too, which is great.
That's beautiful.
I can't sometimes like, and my brother can't. He's such a fucking idiot. And like,
Yeah, my sister can't tan either, but
oh, it's great. Are we the best looking of our siblings?
yeah, for sure.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, my sister wishes. She's also like full Aryan. So we have different dads. My dad's Mexican. And so I'm like I'm the brownest person in our family, obviously, besides my dad's. But my mom, who's Ashkenazi Jewish, like very Irish, white Ashkenazi Jew, just very white,
Yeah.
had a child with like a Dutch man.
Yeah.
So their child is like blonde, Hitler youth, so white,
Yeah.
tall as shit. She's like 5'11", long ass legs. And I'm just like tiny little Jewish Mexican little like rat next to her.
Just
But I'm still so much hotter.
yeah, just for sure. Yeah, that other girl is like what Hitler wanted.
Oh, totally.
And you're like not a Jewish Mexican sex worker.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
just
in a lot of marginalized communities.
yeah, you're not allowed at a lot of meetings. Like,
Yeah, no, 100%. The clan.
oh, it's so funny. But we're doing it. We're making it happen.
Yeah, we are.
One time someone asked if my teeth were real. One time someone which so flattering.
Are they?
Yes, they are. One time someone was like, "Where do you get your lips done?" And I was like, "What?" And they were like, "It's okay, you can tell me." And I was like, they're real. And they're like, "No. Seriously, who's your guy?" I was like, "Shut up. They're fucking real. Some girl at a bar." Then I fucked her.
That's bull.
Then I fucked her. That's fine.
Wow. And she knew who you were.
She did not know. She did not know who I was. No, she did not know who I was. Because this was before 2019.
Wow.
And it was cool.
How old are you?
In 2000, I'm 25 now. In 2019, I was 23. But you know what?
25.
Well, come to think, we did it. Yeah, but I seem very young. I'm quite immature.
Yeah, like 18.
Yeah, I'm not smart. But like now that we're talking about, I mean that we were talking about like the dudes, going after like underage girls and stuff like that. I've always made it a thing for me. I don't like anyone younger than me.
Oh yeah, the idea of dating anyone like 23 makes me like sick.
I'm fucking I don't give a shit anymore. You're garbage if you're like, no, you're not. But if you're like, but like if I'm at a bar and I'm like, I know people who are at this bar are like 25 and up. I know that. You can tell. I usually have a good grip on that. But if someone's like, I just know a fucking 19 or 20-year-old when I fucking hear one, you know what I mean? And when you're talking and you're just like, all right, no, like there's just not going to be a connection here. Like your values and morals are not, it's just not going to work. And I'm very happy that I've always gone for women who are older than me. Like even if it's my favorite thing in the world.
Mommies.
Because obviously
have a relationship with your mother or seeking that in a partner. Yeah,
probably. And they all look like her, kind of. They're all like that always happens. Every time if I'm seeing someone And I'm like, guys, check it out. And I like show like an Instagram to them and they're like, fucking, there you go, man. Another chick who looks like your fucking mom. And I'm like, all right, shit.
I'm fucking dead. Freudian. That's Freud at work.
She's gonna listen to this. It's fine.
Good.
Hi, Jackie. Sorry about that.
Jackie.
Sorry, mama.
I'm dead. I think, yeah, but I agree with you. It's the idea of dating anyone that much younger. My boyfriend is 5 years older than me. We met when I was 21. But I was also in like I was completely self-sufficient by that point, like had been living on my own since I was 16. Right. I had a full career by that point. I was
exactly. That's amazing.
Comedy writer. I was a sex worker. I had like all these incomes. I made the same amount of money as him. We had like the same whatever. That's like different, I think.
Yeah. Oh, no, I totally agree. But if you're like a dude who's like 27 and you're living independently in the city and you're like banging a fucking student, stop.
If you're going to college towns and fucking when you can on Tinder,
fuck that. Come to this party. Ew. See you later. No chance. Get the fuck out of here. So I can just like walk into a door and fucking trip over a sea of Air Force Ones.
Yeah, like, on some David Dobrik shit.
Yeah, eat shit. I'm not going to your fucking homecoming.
Yeah.
I'm not going to your fucking homecoming. I'm meeting you you better have a fucking car. Like
that as well. Yeah.
Like we're going to a restaurant and like it's not, you know what I mean? Like we're doing
bingo with the other old people.
Yeah, we're going to see a movie, getting something to eat, and being in bed by 11. Do you understand? We're adults. Let's fucking act like it, okay? 100%. I'm gonna kiss you on the forehead, and we're gonna go to sleep. And then I'm gonna make you something to eat in the morning because I'm an adult and I have food in the fridge, okay?
Yeah, just toast and eggs though, because you're a man after all.
Yeah, it's just toast, bacon, and eggs every time.
Yeah, every time. Every man has just bread, egg, and some sort of meat to heat up, just like barely any seasoning, maybe like ready to make rice.
Yeah,
rice.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm not making you a smoothie bowl. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna put something in a dirty pan and hopefully you won't notice.
You've mastered like a poached egg.
Yeah, recently. Yeah. Like super recently. Oh man. Oh yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah, the shit that we fucking Yeah, I like, but you know what always happens, which I like, is when like, if I'm flirting with a woman who I know is older than me, and by the way, older than me, I mean like 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Like, I'm not saying like 40-year-old women. And obviously
I've heard it's good.
That when it's, I should, but like, I want to be a stepdad. Like now.
Wow.
Like tonight.
Yeah, tonight.
I want to be like, hey, what's going on?
3.
I want to raise a teenager while I'm 25.
Yeah.
Anyway, this always happens where like some like girls are always like how old are you? And I'm like 25. And if they're 27, they're like, oh, you're a fucking baby. And I go,
you want to see a baby? Then give me milkies, mommy.
Oh, I have an idea. Fuck me.
And that's beautiful. And that's literally modern love.
And they're like, oh my God, are you a Sag? Or some bullshit. And then,
Yeah, that sounds like me.
I get it. It's okay. It's not bad. I mean, I've actually learned a lot about the star signs and stuff because I'm like, I got nothing. Like I have no info about it. And like, it does come up often. So I'm like, I got to do some research and it's helped.
Yeah.
And
you know your whole chart?
I do not know. I had a girl over not like a month ago who she was very sweet, but she was too into it. Like really like we just met. And she was like, what time are you born? And I was like, okay, chill. And she was like, no. She loved this. She's like, no, I have to read it. I have to. I'll read it for you. And I was like, cool. And I was just sitting there like, when you pretend to listen, it was just so like, I was like, this is just, I was getting scared. That's what I'm trying to say. It was
you should have known from your Scorpio Sag that you would be scared.
Great. Well, you know what? Next week, how about you and Connor come on the podcast? And we could do a fucking check-in on see how you're doing. We could check in and see how you're doing.
I'm like, our relationship is in shambles.
How about that? How about we do that here again?
No, our relationship is great. He's literally the best person I know, but he definitely, our star signs or our charts are like actually so crazy. Our synastry is like so compatible. It's insane. Like, and like pretty cosmically. So like both of our longest exes, I dated my ex for like 3 years. He dated his for like 4. They have the same birthday. And he has like a bunch of you just like not listening. He has a bunch of Scorpio placements, and I have a bunch of Cancer placements, which are like super compatible. It's like very weird how like cosmically aligned our lives are.
Yeah. Cool, nerd. Jesus Christ. My longest relationship was 1 year. So.
Oh God, that's a you problem. That you need to go to therapy.
Yeah, shut up.
It's looking like therapy. Maybe I come back next week and we do a therapy with you.
Okay. Oh no, I can't. I'm scared of it.
Yeah, I can imagine. So is my boyfriend.
Sure. Because yeah, it's true. Most men are. We're fucked, eh? We're the worst. Oh, just said A, like a fucking Canadian.
Yeah. Eh?
Whoa, we're fucked, eh? Whoa, we're fucked, eh?
Either that or like a cholo.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, hilarious.
Okay, I need to check. We've been doing this for, oh my God, it's been a long time. Okay. I gotta change.
I have to change?
I have to get changed. Oh yeah, mentally, but like also I need to get, I gotta get out of these clothes, mama, okay? All right, okay. Thank you for being on the Clean Hamster podcast. I very much appreciate it. If you haven't listened, give it a listen. It's fucking awesome. And don't worry about it. It's fine. I feel like 10 minutes into me talking, you're like, I fucking get what he does. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is Clean Hamster? What is?
Oh, so the word. Oh, I'm so fucking happy you asked. So the word, the name. Shut up. The name Clean. It's the name Dean if you squint, because the C and the L look like a lowercase d. And Hamster is something that a kid in the 3rd grade thought my last name was when we were partnered up for a project.
So it's very specific to you.
Yeah, it is. And also it was like it was a Finsta account that I had for a super long time, which you can follow. Wait, you can't, right? Oh, I mean, you can. Are you allowed to look at stuff on Instagram right now?
No, I can't even log in.
I got to stop bringing that up.
Yeah, it's hurting me.
All right, sorry. Sorry. Okay, so either way, it started as a Finsta like years and years ago, and I was like, well, I'm pretty bored, and I really like hearing myself talk, so I should start a podcast, and that's what I named the podcast after. So
yeah.
Anyway, I think we're done, and I also had a really great time because that was the most I've ever, like, being completely honest right now, that is the most I've ever listened like in a while, and I was not to be.
You're like, I usually don't listen to women talk because they're super fucking annoying and dumb.
Oh, really? Hey, is that what I said? Is that what I said?
I've been recording it, and I'm about to cancel you.
That's cool. You gonna gaslight me on my own fucking podcast? That's nice. Thanks so much. Thank you. Here's what I'm trying to say. I had a really nice time listening because usually I'm just talking, being a fucking idiot, doing dumb bits and stuff here on my own. And it is a nice change of pace and a breath of fresh air to sit here and listen to someone with a compelling story and just a good outlook. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, hey, Gabriel Gundacker, fuck you, dude. And Cole Hirsch, you're a bad guy. And here's the thing. I've been canceled for being a bad guy before. But then do you know what I did? I stopped being a bad guy.
Gee.
So all you got to do is to not... just stop continuing to demonstrate this garbage piece of shit fuckface behavior, and your life will be better. But if you continue to do it, lose jobs, bitch.
Yeah. And die.
And die! With your fucking chlamydia.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay. All right. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
That was so much fun. That was great.
It was.
All right. I'll let you know when this is going out. I'll message you.
Yes. Thank
All right.
you.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye, Mama.